Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We've got Mr. Peter Starr.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
Good, thank you, Peter. And yourself?
Thank you. This goes to what Mr. Elliot spoke to the shareholders a couple of questions back about where people do the wrong thing and people are scammed. And this is a direct question to Mr. Elliot. You were questioned at the parliamentary inquiry, and I quote, including Chief Executive Shane Elliott, have you done enough work to fix risk culture issues first identified by the Financial Services Royal Commission? Now, I don't know if everybody on the board has had the time, and if they haven't done it, you need to read Commissioner Haynes' full report and the subsequent report. And are you able to indicate, has that happened? Has everybody read that report? The Royal Commission.
Everybody's well aware of the Royal Commission has findings, and we have discussed them extensively and at length at the board. But can you come to the question, Peter?
Sure. So, given that Shane talked about when people are scammed and robbed, how do you address this question, Mr. Elliott, where your own bankers from within inside the bank, employed by the bank, are doing the robbing?
I don't know what I'm not sure how to interpret your question. What are you alleging, Mr. Starr?
Is there a specific allegation, Peter, you want to make?
Absolutely, I do.
And I just want to caution, because we're in a public arena, and to protect you, just be careful. I don't want you to inadvertently get yourself in trouble by making an allegation about somebody. So just if you prefer to do it privately, we're happy for you to feed it into us offline.
Sure. I'm happy to meet with any of the board.
You don't need to meet with the board to provide us with that sort of information.
Sure. But this specifically goes to what was going on in that manipulation of the thing. This was done by people who worked for the bank.
If I can again just be clear, as we've said, the board has at this stage not found evidence that supports the charge of manipulation of the market. So again, I just want to be clear on that. Obviously, we remain open to ASIC's findings.
Okay. And in relation to what was going on in the dealing room, are you able to give us a clear explanation of what the hell was going on in the dealing room?
Well, we have. We've talked about the fact that we had an investigation on conduct and behaviour in that room. I've disclosed in my letter, we've talked about it publicly, that we did find some people who had not followed our processes and our code of practice and conduct, and there have been consequences for those. It's a small group of people, but now I don't want to diminish it. But part of what we're doing now, Peter, is we're actually working with Oliver Wyman to say, you know, we've got this incident here. We've got 40,000 employees in the bank. We've got 1,000 in markets. We've got this group here in the Sydney markets trading room. Let's look across and make sure that that's not representative of the sort of issues that we might find across the rest of the markets business. So we're doing that right now, and I think that's what you as shareholders would want us to do.
Absolutely, and that's to your credit, Paul, absolutely, and to the board's credit. But let me tell you, when the report was handed down to Catherine West from Channel 9, the chair lady, about the culture issues and everything that was going on, they never buried their heads in the sand. They called a media conference, they released the report in full, and in fact, Miss West gave me her own hard copy of the report. Now, my challenge to you and to the board is release that report and all other reports so we, the shareholders, know what the hell's been going on. And I think that's transparency, and I think it's fair to every other shareholder in the room.
Thank you, Peter. And I answered that question earlier in terms of our obligations, but what I will say is that the Oliver Wyman report will be shared in full with APRA, the regulator, whose job is to make sure that the bank is regulated properly.
And knowing APRA, I can assure you they will require you to release that report.
They're a very positive force in the industry, and we think they do a lot of good work. So, yes, thank you.
Well, they absolutely do. I mean, it's sad that their criticism of direct criticism that you guys didn't, as a board and as the CEO, didn't address things that should have been addressed. And
So-
that's the sad part, Paul.
Peter, thank you. And I think you made those points earlier, and we hear you. And I think I've responded both in my speech and in the Q&A today on those matters. But look, I hear your feedback, and thank you.
Thank you.